bring it up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
Don't let that team steal it away. He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh, Brad Rucker for the touchdown. Kraft shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
It's not just the Buckeye Show. It's a reunion of sorts. This is Tim May along with Austin Ward. Austin, we're back together again. What do you think, man?
Boy, we used to make a lot of shows together.
Yeah, I know. Remember when I used to ask you a question on the Tim May show, and you would
I know that Cam did this. You don't know how to turn on sound and music like this.
I have no idea what Cam's doing to us. Cam Taylor, our very capable producer. I think he's got a show business part to him. He went to Columbus Academy. But I wanted to ask you, remember I used to ask you a question, and I'd have to hold up my hand to finally maybe get a word in edgewise. Do you remember those days?
Is that how that worked?
Yeah.
Two guys who like to talk about Ohio State football.
Yeah. And don't know the meaning of the word period.
We have a lot of thoughts about it. So
yeah, we do.
That stretched those shows out pretty long.
Hey, I just want to ask you this straight off the bat here before we move into some other interesting items. Aaron Rodgers, what a surprise going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, as Hayden Fry would say. And that affects a guy we got to know extremely well last year in Will Howard from the standpoint of, he'll be the understudy, at least for sure this year and stuff. But just what's your take on Aaron Rodgers going to the Steelers, and how do you think it will benefit Will Howard?
Well, good for him for finally making up his mind. I don't know that it necessarily changes all that much for the Steelers. They've tried this with aging or aged quarterbacks a few times, trying to ride Ben Roethlisberger past the expiration date.
Yep.
Tried to do this with Russell Wilson last year. Felt like that they didn't give another Ohio State product enough of a chance last year after Justin Fields. The numbers weren't awesome, but they had a winning record. They started off pretty strong. I thought they would have maybe given themselves a better chance to evaluate his long-term future if they had rode with him, but they went with Russell Wilson. That didn't work out. The wheels fell off for him as well. I'm not going to predict that there's no chance for Aaron Rodgers, who won 4 MVPs and a Super Bowl, but he's also a year and a half removed from an Achilles injury. It feels like his best football is behind him. We'll see. But you brought this up. We were just sitting in here. The news breaks today, and you're talking about the Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers situation back when they were with the Packers, and there wasn't a great mentor-mentee relationship. Didn't seem like that happened, that Aaron Rodgers learned or adjusted from that when he was with Jordan Love in Green Bay. I don't know that he's signed a 1-year contract. Is that right, Cam? It's a 1-year deal. Is that what you said in the Sports Center update there?
Yes.
Okay, 1 year deal. Sorry, I just want to clarify, because that means that he wouldn't have, Tim, great incentive to want to see Will Howard's development through.
No, he wouldn't. And that's why it's always interesting. He made a big deal about what Brett Favre, there was no trickle-down theory in Brett Favre's makeup. And then he turned around and pretty much did the same thing himself. And because it is pro football, it is get your job and hang on to it. I remember Joe Montgomery telling me about going to the New York Giants. I'm not going to name the running back that was there at the time, but he got drafted and went to the New York Giants. And one of the first practice OTAs or whatever, they were supposed to run a play, and Joe wasn't up on the total playbook yet. And he asked him, which way do I go? And the guy told him, let's just say left. And he was supposed to go right. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting but you can learn things from veterans without them ever saying a word to you, and, you can't necessarily learn their moxie, but I thought Will Howard showed a lot of moxie last year, for want of another term, a favorite John Cooper saying. But how do you think Will do it? You and I haven't been together since the draft and stuff in terms of talking about things, but I think he's got a pretty good opportunity there.
Yeah, it looked a lot more appealing in terms of getting some playing time before Aaron Rodgers signed today. We'll see what that means. Pittsburgh does not have a long-term solution here in Aaron Rodgers. Everybody knows that. So Will Howard will get an opportunity. He's going to have training camps, OTAs, mini camp, like all that stuff. He'll have the exhibition games to get a little taste of that experience and get his feet wet. And we'll see, if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, that's a big if at 42 years old. You know, there could be in-season opportunities. We're just like, it was earlier in the week, I think Mike Tannenbaum was saying, well, I don't know if people are paying enough attention to Will Howard. Like, there are a lot of things to like, if not for a shaky appearance at the NFL Combine when he wasn't throwing to Ohio State wide receivers, when he had little time to adjust and it was one throw every 5 minutes. Like, I felt like that was unfairly used against Will Howard, but fair or unfair, doesn't matter. They're NFL teams. They can do whatever decision that they think is best for their organization. But if that tanked Will Howard's stock in some way, we all saw what he was capable of in 1 year in Columbus. We saw the teams that he beat and carved up it really in the playoff. His toughness, you pointed to the moxie. There was poise. There was great decision making.
Yes.
For all the times that we talked about, can Ohio State throw the deep ball at the level they need to? Second half of the year, I thought that got notably better, but even if it didn't, and 3rd and 11, 3rd and Jeremiah was on the money, I'll take somebody who completes 75% of their throws on the short and intermediate stuff. He was deadly.
And won a national championship. And here's the thing. I mean, Billy Fessler talked about this back in the spring. Will Howard got better almost every week. I mean, they could literally chart it, from his awareness to his is becoming more in sync with what Chip Kelly was up to, except maybe the Michigan game.
Well,
but you know what I mean.
I think there may have been other factors involved in that.
Oh yeah, there were all kinds of things. But my point is, I'm just throwing that in there as almost a joke aside.
Sure.
But the point was, he did get better and better as the year went. Even as a passer, mechanically, as a passer, he got better. And I think that speaks volumes for what his upside is, because he can definitely get better. And he's a big dude. He pays attention. He's smart. He's curious about stuff. I don't know. Like I said, if he just pays attention to Aaron Rodgers,
he's going to have to, because Rodgers isn't going to go out of his way to help him.
Right, exactly. So who knows? Maybe Aaron Rodgers turned over a new leaf on whatever golf course he was on yesterday.
Well, and the other part of that is Pittsburgh is not necessarily paying Aaron Rodgers to mentor Will Howard. So
right.
We may be talking about that and what this means for Will Howard, and we might be critical in our seats of that. But if Aaron Rodgers doesn't feel any need to do that, so be it. Like, Pittsburgh is paying him to win games this year.
Yeah. So
would it be great if he wanted to spend some extra time and invest in the future? Maybe he could have done that with Jordan Love. Maybe he's like, I've got another chance to do this and leave a different kind of legacy with Pittsburgh and with Will Howard. Like, great, good for him. He doesn't have to. And just because we might look at this and say that's probably not the ideal veteran to put in front of Will Howard, he has also won games at a very high level and did so for a very long time in Aaron Rodgers. He's won MVPs. I don't think once he's got in the facility, which that's sort of been the big deal, is when does he want to get there and how much work in the offseason does he want to put in? I don't know that anybody has ever looked at Aaron Rodgers and said he doesn't approach the game in a professional way. He doesn't prepare in a professional way. He doesn't know the game at the highest level. No one, I've never heard that about Aaron Rodgers. So if Will Howard is just simply in the room with him, I would be stunned, if he doesn't learn something from that, because I think he learned something from every situation he's in.
Yeah, I agree. And it's really funny though, because Will was one of the older players on the entire Ohio State team last year.
Right.
And now he's playing with a guy who's almost 20 years older than him. You know what I mean? I mean, it's
a crazy game, isn't it?
It is a crazy game, man. And the tackling, though, is for real over there. Hey, one other quick thing. Jason Singleton's been offered by Ohio State, a legacy, so to speak, locally and stuff. What's the impact of that? What do you think Jason Singleton could bring to the situation there for the Ohio State basketball team?
Well, I mean, it's one thing to get an offer, right? And you got to actually follow through on that. So it's been interesting, because you think about how much time we spend constantly breaking down Ohio State football, you and I, and the last week on this show, there have been multiple days. You're talking about Jake Diebler being busy. One with a commit and signee that's going the other direction's not going to be able to enroll in time for Ohio State. They go pick up two guys. International pickup. Another sort of legacy pickup in Hero. So they've been busy. Jake Diebler's been very busy, more than you would normally think for June on the hardwood, but he has that work to do. They missed the NCAA tournament again. We all know that. We don't have to rehash all those details, but you're seeing some movement and pieces fall into place there, because Ohio State's got to get that part done, because I don't think they can afford. This is not something that would impact 2025, 2026 for Ohio State, but you got to look towards the future here, and they're certainly doing that.
Absolutely. Well, talk about looking toward the future, man. I've been pretty excited about getting this guy on, Thad Wells of Tackle Life. But the bottom line is he's really pushing the idea of artificial intelligence, really making a big move in college football, for one of another term, play calling, but also preparation, et cetera. A lot of teams are already into it. A lot of schools are already into it on the high school, college, and pro level. He's going to be on with us in just a minute when we return back here on the Buckeye Show on 97.1 The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm getting married today.
You may now kiss the bride.
I'm also a firefighter and first responder. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're also making sure I can get to my wedding ceremony to start the next chapter of my life.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Let's all give them room to work. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Are you in need of basic dental treatment but can't afford the cost? There may be a solution. Hi, I'm Dr. Hal Jeter, president of the Ohio Dental Association, and I'm excited to tell you about a program called Dental Options. Dental Options is a partnership between the Ohio Dental Association and the Ohio Department of Health, in which qualifying patients can be paired with a dentist to receive discounted or even free dental care. Eligibility for the program is based on your financial situation. For more information or to apply, call 1-888-765-6789.
We've got a story about a little bean doing big things. Soybeans are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we use every day. And Ohio's farmers are growing some of the world's best soybeans. By using and eating soy-based products, you make a positive impact locally and globally. Say hey to the largest ag export in the U.S. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts, and for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers, we're improving lives, we're reimagining healthcare.
What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
Cheetah Green with Skip Mosick.
Saturday, we'll preview next week's U.S. Open at Oakmont with Beth Major of the USGA, plus SI.com's Gary Van Sickle and former Buckeye Maxwell Moldovan.
Cheetah Green with Skip Mosick. Saturday mornings at 9 on The Fan.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. And no matter what tasty choice you make, our low prices add up to big savings. Plus, you get over $600 in digital coupons each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump and points. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Plenty of clouds around, a couple of showers, and maybe a rumble of thunder on this Thursday. Temperatures in the upper 70s. Overnight, we'll keep it down to the mid to upper 60s. Warm and humid for your Friday morning. Could see a shower or storm early, but a slightly better chance by Friday evening and Friday night. High temperatures around 80 degrees. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
The best damn radio show in the land. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Hey, we're back, and I don't know if Cam's going to throw another surprise music offering at us.
I hope he does. Keep us on our toes in here.
Yeah. Well, not while Thad Wells is talking, ladies and gentlemen. Thad Wells is a man who doesn't need to be interrupted. Am I right about that, Thad Wells?
I don't know about that, guys.
Hey, man, I had you on my Tim May show several weeks ago, and I go, the subject mainly that we broached, was about the rising use of artificial intelligence, as in AI, which we'll refer to henceforth. But in football game preparation, maybe even in football games, calling plays eventually. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, your favorite play could have been called by a computer here in a couple of years, if not this year. But hey, Thad, by the way, welcome to the Buckeye Show. And I just wanted you to take off from that, just kind of give people a little bit of an idea of your background and why you're so interested in this rise of AI when it comes to football.
Yeah, I mean, I was a high school coached football for the last 20 years, but then got with Coach Mendenhall, Bronco Mendenhall, when he was at the University of Virginia. Did a lot of analytic stuff, quality control, and just saw the heavy use of, just analytics, statistics, in-game decision-making, a guy with a computer standing right there beside of Bronco, just letting him know, hey, it's 3rd and 3, you should go for it here if we get to 4th, all those things. But that was in 2021, and that was before AI. And now with AI here, there's obviously a lot of things that, the whole world is changing. And then that's just going to carry right over into the game of football.
Yeah, you've had your seminars and things like that. Are people grasping this? Are they running to it? Are they running away from it? I'm talking about the coaching ilk. I mean, how would you describe it at this point?
I would say it's there's very, very few that are selling out. There are some that are selling out, and that is a handful. And then, like anything, there's ego involved. There's old way of doing things, and people are very reluctant to change. And speaking of like college football, NFL, if you change and you're wrong, you're done.
Yeah,
and that's the fear that everybody has with it.
Then what prompted you to, I don't know, make this career shift? You had seemingly a good thing going, a lot of options. Not saying that this isn't a good thing, but what prompted this move further into AI?
Well, I mean, it's I'm not necessarily an AI guy in the sense of like I am sold out to that. Here, for me, success in general, whether you're talking about sports, business, life, it's about who has the fastest feedback loop. Yeah. That's something I've come to understand after studying military strategy, a person named John Boyd, if you really want to get into the weeds. But anyways, those that can make decisions and adjust the fastest win. Again, that's sports, that's business, that's everything. I just finished putting out a book literally this morning on my website, which it's free right now, just trying to convince coaches and business leaders that what matters is how fast you adjust. And AI is a tool that allows coaches to adjust faster because ultimately coaches, CEOs, anybody, they're hired or they get to keep their job or stay in business based off of their judgment, their decision-making, and how fast they can go from thought to, action, basically.
That's fascinating stuff. So what is that? That's not necessarily this is the exact call that you need for 3rd and 7 because you might have 4 or 5 ideas if you're a coach, and the computers might tell you 4 or 5. But it's the process. I'm trying to wrap my mind around all of this.
Yeah. So, one thing you have to grasp, as a coordinator is that there's no such thing as a perfect call. So that doesn't matter. Every play in football is a situation, right? It's third down, it's left hash, it's whatever. Now, a lot of coaches try to apply analytics to the nth degree, right? They're trying, defense coordinators especially. They're like, okay, it's third down, the wind is blowing 13.4 miles per hour. But the problem is, there's so an author named Nasib Talib, he would talk about this and say that he would say that the game of football, even because this isn't bowling, there's too many variables. So every situation happens so rarely. There's no such thing as a 3rd and 3 statistically, because there's 3rd and 3, like I said, with all the different factors, including when the girlfriend of the starting quarterback broke up with him that week, which changes everything. I mean, there's too many things. There's too many variables. So ultimately, like play calls, it's a spectrum. There's really good, there's really bad, and then there's a bunch in between. But you only have, a few seconds to make a decision, based off the game clock and then how fast your tempo is going to be. But with AI, what it can do, and I've been working on it and really trying to get it. It's hard. Like, if you would asked me 2 years ago, I'd have said, man, I don't know if it's ever going to help football coaches, because it was bad. Like, you couldn't talk to it about football strategy. You had no idea. Yeah. But 2 years later, it's pretty good. So basically what I did here a couple months ago is I built a spreadsheet with all, like, you take your playbook and you create just it's a lot of rows of data. And you're basically saying, hey, this play is good in this situation. And then every row is like, hey, this is what down is this play good for? First, second, third, fourth, or all. What yardage is this good for? Is this good when you're backed up near your end zone? Is it good when you're going into the red zone? Is this good when you're trailing? Is this good, whatever? So you basically check all these boxes, and then you take that spreadsheet and you feed it into AI and you say, hey, here's my game. Here's the plays I like. Learn it. And now in the game, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the situation of the game. And so basically you could have I've got it to where you could have your phone out and say, you're talking to Chat GPT or Gemini or any of them, and say, hey, it's 3rd and 7 left hash. All right. And you're going down the field, and it's going to say, based off of this, it's just going to spit your plays back. Hey, and you can coordinate this like Alpha 21 or whatever, just to spit it out in an easy way to read. Yeah, and that's all possible right this second.
Yeah. Hey, has anybody used AI yet to call plays that you know of? That I mean,
I don't think so. Yeah. I could almost guarantee you not a single person on Saturday or Sunday has actually used AI. Now, analytics might have it like incorporated a little bit, but it's not calling plays. It's just telling you when to go for it, when to punt and all that, basically.
Right. What coaches, they've got their little play sheet. They've also got their little card telling them when to punt, when to not to punt, when to go, like you said, when to go for it. So they've been kind of dealing with AI. They don't even know it, They've been dealing with suggestions for a long time, or at least welcoming them and stuff. But like you talked about a while ago, though, what is the general reception? Are they still cautious about? Well, I'm not gonna basically throw my life on the line based on what Siri says. I mean, how do they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Chat GPT says.
Yeah, I don't see. I see it'll be a while before you see coaches on game day actually trusting it. Mm-hmm. Now, most of the guys that are calling plays at that level, they've built their instincts over decades.
Yes.
And honestly, I would never trust a computer over instincts. But here's where AI is going to. It already has taken over. It's moving extremely fast. And I just had a meeting with a company this past week who is an AI analytics company. And what they do is, so when I was at the University of Virginia, like on the weekends, there's companies out there that provide all the data of games, like every single game in college football, NFL. And basically, my job was to prepare our defensive staff with, hey, this is what this offense is going to do. So I would I would spend hours looking at all the statistics, creating reports, and every staff in the country at the Power 5 and FBS and NFL, they're doing this, and they have teams doing this. And now, just within the last couple years, there's software that it is literally just pushing a button and spitting out all these different hit charts and pie charts and all these diagrams, because numbers are hard to look at. What really is what sells well is the graphics, because the way coaches are using this is to literally implant just heuristics in their mind for calling plays on game day. Yeah. So it's really hard to just feed a defensive coordinator in the middle of a drive statistics and have him be like, oh, yeah, okay, thank you. It's more like I'm going to train my mind, Sunday through Friday to be ready using all this data. And that's what these analytics, that is already like let's say half of the Power 5 schools in college have switched to and one of the leading companies is called Answers Analytics, which is really really taking over in this world.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're going to be back in just a moment with you. I want to talk about one of the Genesis things that you had with this. John Boyd, the former fighter pilot who was considered to be one of the fastest decision makers, in the air, but how he applied all kinds of input, et cetera, in his decisions in dogfight kind of situations. But we're going to be back with Thad Wells here in a moment, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Buckeye Show on 97.1 The Fan.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Did you want information on the Ohio Lottery's Easy Play games? Okay. Easy Play games have everything needed to play printed on the ticket, so you never wait for a drawing. And with Easy Play Progressive games, they can instantly win the game's jackpot, which oftentimes grow and grow to over $1 million. All lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly. Want another commercial? Okay.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get one juicy flame grilled Whopper sandwich, one original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
If you still have a weird rash from jumping in Mirror Lake, we can be friends. This is the Buckeye Show.
Here we are back on the Buckeye Show. This is Tim May along with Austin Ward. Were we pals at one point, Austin? Do you remember?
Oh, we're not pals anymore?
Yeah, I think we are pals, but we're back together again. I know that on the air. And we've got Thad Wells talking with us. I just think this is very interesting only because of the future of, just when you think you know what the future holds, then you get AI thrown on you. We see businesses now maybe getting rid of floors of workers now because AI can do the work a lot faster and a lot more accurately as long as they have the proper information and stuff. And Thad, I want to get back to you on this because to me the interesting thing was, how John Boyd, the fighter pilot, and what the book and some of the seminars he's given and stuff about just making snap decisions, just kind of piqued your interest. Can you talk about that a little bit, just on what kind of inspiration that gave you along these lines?
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking to be a better coach. I was looking for answers. And a book or a quote I read a long time ago said, if we're all looking in the same places, we're all going to get the same answer. So I stopped looking in football world. I started looking in other worlds. And I don't know how, but I came across John Boyd and just his research and his thoughts on strategy and conflict and war. And then it applied perfectly to the game of football. And then I just saw how it applied to everything. But he basically, the analogy is this, in war, let's say you're in a dogfight, which hardly exists anymore, but,
right.
Back in the day, if you're in a dogfight, you got a plane and, it's capable of maneuvering extremely fast. But if the pilot can't make decisions very quick, that means the plane is worth nothing. Just like a receiver that runs a 4.4, if he's thinking at 5.5, it doesn't matter. Like, he's going to move at 5.5. So it negates his physical abilities. So that's decision making. That's the same thing as a quarterback with a strong arm who can throw it but can't make a decision fast enough to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And that applies just to a coordinator who is trying to make adjustments in game, make decisions. And so bad coordinators, they make adjustments, in between games. Decent coordinators might make adjustments at halftime or between quarters. But great coordinators, they're making adjustments as the drive is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes rapid, again, it's feedback loops. It's just rapid adjustments. And, I mean, I've been so hardcore in this. I mean, I literally just put a book together called the 4D Game Plan, which is a feedback loop called Discover, Discern, Decide, and Do. And it just cycles through obtaining information and then putting it into action as fast as you possibly can.
How would that apply, let's say, retroactively, self-scout? Because as you said, it's about making a decision in the moment, and there's not going to be a perfect play call. There might be a better one. There might be a worse one. Are you using this then after the game to break down success rate? How could it be used for that?
Yeah, it applies at all times. It becomes a mental model that you use to think, like literally at all times, really in life. But football, again, like I said, like the best, they're doing this every single play. So as soon as the play's over, they're getting feedback, or during the play, they're watching and getting, like, the perfect example is like, you call a run and your eyes are on the safeties. You see safeties rotation, and then therefore your adjustments immediately, they're triggering, here's play action, here's something over the top. So you can do that in the game. But then after the game, when the game's over, you're doing the same thing. You're discovering, in the discover phase, you're looking at the game, you're watching film of yourself and then of your opponent, and you're soaking in all this information. But then you got to discern what's good and what's bad. Some of that information is no good.
Mm-hmm.
So you discern what's usable. Then ultimately you got to decide, what am I going to do about all this? And essentially what you're doing is creating a bunch of hypotheses, which is a game plan. Because if you just go into the game saying, hey, man, I'm going to run power and win this game, well, if they stop power, you lose. So you need a bunch of hypotheses that you're going to start testing during practice and then early in the game to say, hey, okay, what can we do to move the ball or to stop them from moving the ball? And it's just this constant cycle of iteration.
Yeah, it's going to be funny though when everybody's using it and AI is spitting out a perfect defensive call, or pretty much, and is spitting out a perfect offensive call, and then it always comes down, because like you and I talked about before, it always comes down to the Jimmies and the Joes, who lightly just sprained his ankle a minute ago, and it always comes down, Thad, to a simulation of what's in front of you by the quarterback, right? And until the robots are playing, and then I think that those games will be 0-0. You got to figure, but it does finally come down to a simulation of the information that he's seeing it by the quarterback and stuff. And coaches, the NFL is still trying to figure out a super great way to figure out who can who can like assimilate the stuff they're seeing faster than the other guy, because that's the difference maker in the NFL. Just like going from high school to college, some quarterbacks make that leap, but then don't make the leap successfully to the NFL. And it's, if you can streamline what they need to pay attention to, it just makes life a whole lot better for them, right? I mean, it finally does come down to the quarterback making the play.
Yeah, if you could create some AI software that can measure the intangibles, you'd be a billionaire.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at Brady and Manning, what they were able to do late in their careers. I mean, they had the physical gifts were gone, but the milliseconds they gain in making decisions, also their leadership abilities and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But in the game itself, it's decision making.
Mm-hmm.
They made up for weaker arms later in their careers because they could anticipate windows coming open, and that's completely different than somebody that's just relying, on their arm strength to move the ball down the field.
Dad, so you mentioned the book is at tacklelife.com. It's free right now.
Yep. It's a free book right now for a short time, as it's just it's a digital copy at this time, and it's meant to be a book that busy people. I mean, the whole name of the game here is speed. How fast can you cycle through this stuff? So I didn't want to write a book that took leaders and coaches, days to read. So this is a book that can be consumed and gain the big picture of, feedback loops and just knowing that it's not about, failing and succeeding on its own. It's those who can fail the fastest and learn from their mistakes are going to succeed the fastest.
So that's out. You can get that. Don't waste time. I don't know if it's going to be free forever, but you got to make a quick decision to get the book at tacklelife.com.
There you go.
And then what's next, Dad? I mean, your coaching journey, we touched on that a little bit, where you've been and what you've done in the past. Or do you want to ultimately get back into it? Is this the path forward for you, or can you put off a decision on that one?
Yeah, so 20 years of coaching. I've decided to take this year off, first year in 20 years. And as Tim has seen, my Twitter X account over the last month or so is just absolutely blown up. Over 10 million impressions. And I'm just writing stories of coaches. And that has opened up. I mean, I've talked to multiple head Power 4 coaches over the last 2 days on just the power of stories and sharing that with the country, really, and X world at least.
Like Dan Lanning, how he got to where he is. I mean, it's fascinating. Yeah.
Exactly. So I wrote that tweet last night, or that thread, and it's at 280,000.
Wow.
I mean, it's been crazy. I wrote a thread on my journey that's right at 2 million now, and so that has just changed I don't know where that's going to go, but that has really changed a lot of stuff over the last month.
Hey, are you just looking for somebody to just dive in? You've had your seminars too on online and stuff, which are cool. Are you looking for somebody to finally just dive in and be that poster child for what's coming? Thad, do you see that happening?
I mean, somebody, just think about hardball. Like that stuff was there for a long time, but it took one person to come in and say, "Hey, let's apply this. Let's actually do it." And it's going to be, it's the Mike Leaches of the world. The guys that are willing to risk, it's the fear of the unknown that really takes the life of a lot of coaches, and they don't last very long because they don't know what they don't know, and the fear of doing something different makes a lot of coaches not do it. Yeah. But those that really, typically, now one, they're really good recruiters. That's number one. But then two, you got to do something with the talent, and you got to, as you go up the food chain, the difference between talent is less and less and less and less.
Right.
Once you get to the NFL, the talent is so similar. It really does come down to what are you doing that's a little different. And this is the first time in how many decades that it's drastically a new technology that's just completely different.
Yeah.
And And I see this really taking over in recruiting and scouting, and just like I said, like game planning and scouting reports first, which it is. But what's this ultimately going to bring? Who knows? But there'll be guys that sell out, and their lives will change. They'll change some programs. It's just like NIL. NIL came out and it brought life. I did an article or a thread on Rhett Lashley the other day. SMU, NIL, man, they're back in the game. And that's just the world we're in. And so now, just like NIL a couple years ago, AI right now, is somebody going to adopt it? That could change the path of a program.
Absolutely. I mean, SMU's back in the game they invented is the best way of putting that. But you're right. Hey, real quick, like in 10 seconds, do you see quarterbacks night before a game sitting down and asking AI, just little things to refreshers, things like that, 3rd and 8, what should I do here? What should I look out for there? You know what I mean? Just because, it always helps if you have in your mind what you're actually going to see.
Yeah, the highest level, that's not that far away. The highest level of this for a quarterback would be integrating virtual reality with AI to create simulations that, like, he's playing the game before the game. Like he's going through thousands of reps just wearing a headset. And because right now the way virtual reality works, it can only typically it's showing you what you can record, or it's like kind of like a video game, but you gotta build all that. Once AI hits it, then AI can build out simulations of a game that will be game changing for quarterbacks for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thad Wells of TackleLife.com. You can also look at him find his spot on Twitter and get involved with him. And like he said, his site's kind of blowing up right now. And there's obviously people are trying to come to grips with AI, but, and what it's going to mean to their life, to their future. But Thad, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, guys. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. Hey, we're going to come back and do a little OSU football talk when we come back here on the Buckeye Show on 97.1 The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
A healthy body needs good food. This summer, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is sponsoring Sun Meals, a summer food program where kids eat free. Children under 18 receive healthy meals and no sign-up is required. Locations may be right in your neighborhood. Call 1-866-348-6479 or visit education.ohio.gov/kidseat for meal locations and times. That's education.ohio.gov/kidseat.
Save a whole lot more all summer long with hot deals on Meijer brand must-haves.
Like Meijer bottled water?
24 packs for $2.99.
How about Meijer freezer pops?
Yeah, for just $1.99.
Meijer Quencher sparkling water?
69 cents each plus deposit where applicable.
What about ingredients for s'mores?
Of course. Meijer marshmallows for $1, Meijer graham crackers for $2, and Meijer 6-pack chocolate bars for $4 all summer long.
Now that's a good deal better.
Only at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
As America's largest custom home builder, Schumacher Homes believes a top-quality home should be affordable for everyone in the Buckeye State. We work with the leading architects to bring you the latest in design, and then you have the ability to make changes. Not just selecting finishes, but moving walls, adding rooms, literally customizing anything from the ground up. It's a misconception that custom homes have to be expensive. We work within your budget to build an amazing home on your land. Visit SchumacherHomes.com or any of our 9 Ohio locations.
Hi,
I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app, or listen at home on your smart speaker, or open up the iHeartRadio app, or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
He shoots. He scores! No matter your sport, it's a great time of year to be a fan. But the fun stops when you or a loved one can't control your gambling. At Maryhaven, we're here to help. Whether it's gambling, drugs, alcohol, or mental health, you don't have to go it alone. With in-person, virtual, and group options, Maryhaven meets you where you are. Always judgment-free. Go to maryhaven.com today. That's maryhaven.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Ryan Day's favorite radio show. Probably. Maybe. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
We're back. Buckeye Show. Tim May along with Austin Ward.
We're back, baby.
Yeah, we're back. Kind of like a Seinfeld reunion, but not really. But bottom line is,
this isn't the Larry David show.
Exactly. If we could just put what we talk about in between, during the breaks on the air, it'd be really nice, wouldn't it, Austin?
That should be the
breaks,
the premium YouTube stream right there. Let's tell Fish we got another option here.
Yeah, the breaks.
And you can also watch us right now.
Exactly.
On YouTube, 97.1 The Fan. And the show is sponsored by those blue mountains right in front of us.
Coors Light.
I'm just going to throw that in there right now.
By the way, we used to have to drive from Lufkin, Texas toward Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
This is back. You remember Smokey and the Bandit?
Oh, yeah.
That was a real thing, by the way. You couldn't get Coors past wherever. And we'd have to drive toward Dallas and get, I think, 2 counties over, and they sold Coors. And not necessarily Coors Light, but, Coors Light came along a little bit later. The banquet beer. And so everybody thought it was champagne because it had to be good, right? If you couldn't buy it.
See?
But our county was also dry. You had to go across the river to buy beer anyway, over toward Nacogdoches. But home of Stephen F. Austin State University. Hey, I wanted to ask you this, man.
Okay.
Every time I've seen Ryan Day in the last several weeks, months, especially weeks, he looks different. He is trimmer looking. Maybe I'm imagining it. But number 2, he looks like maybe it looks like a 50-pound backpack has been lifted off his back.
Yeah, he's not walking around
with him as well as anybody. What do you think?
Not walking around with that monkey on his back. Now, the chip is still there. And I think that's a really interesting dynamic because he's done, if you look at the 5 months since the title game, he's doing a lot of things that were a hallmark of Ryan Day's personality early on. He's always been outgoing, very personable, strong relationships. The family part, that's always been critically important to him. But he's had a good understanding, and he's talked about his background and the family ties to newspaper industry and all that stuff. That he gets the media, he understands the importance and the role that plays. So it's not a surprise that you'd go do things like the Tonight Show. But I thought, Tim, that. And I asked this to Berm, and we sort of kicked this around on the Austin and Berm show on the beat last week. It was like, a year ago, would Ryan Day have gone out to the Rose Bowl for an EA Sports video game shoot? I would say probably not. Yeah. I mean, he was the competitiveness that we've talked about in him since he was hired. Sometimes it was below the surface. Sometimes it was above the surface. Sometimes it was channeled healthily. Sometimes it looked like it was unhealthy for him, especially primarily thinking about the game and how consuming it was. And look, he's the competitiveness hasn't changed just because he won a national championship, and certainly because he hasn't won the game in a long time.
Yeah,
or more than once. That part is still in him, but I think now he has the freedom to do a lot of other things.
Right.
Because they're not taking that trophy away from him. It has validated his place, not just at Ohio State, but in the college football landscape. And I think that opens up some opportunity for him. It's the fascinating part for me, Tim, and I think it is what you're getting at as well. He'd never played in the Pro-Am before at the Memorial. Now you get this other thing. I talked to him. We'll talk about his round. I asked him about it today at the recruiting camp. I know you'd be interested in that. But this part is you don't have to prove yourself anymore.
Right.
And there's a freedom that comes with that. And I think he hasn't lost the competitive side. So if you don't have to anymore deal with that, as you said, a backpack that's weighed down with 50 pounds, and suddenly you're running a lot faster, boy, that can make you dangerous.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like you said, they're not going to have to give that trophy back. Do you think
somebody else might? I don't know.
You think Michigan might have to give the trophy back?
We'll get to that.
The big hearing tomorrow?
We'll
talk about that in a minute. But what I like about it is, though, it gives you the freedom now, not just to go do some things, but it gives you the freedom now to really play your game, in my opinion, for want of another term, to let it all hang out. Yeah. And I'm just so curious about this season coming up. It's crazy. I told him in his office a couple of months ago, I'm going to be fully retired. And of course, a couple other opportunities came along.
No, you're not. You're here.
I know. But it's hard to walk away. But I just get so curious about football teams because they're literally like machines. I mean, you put this part on here and it doesn't necessarily run like you thought it would and stuff. But this is a curious machine we've got coming up because, like he said, hey, we're not anywhere near as experienced as last year, but man, this is a talented football team. If you paid attention in the spring, you saw a talented football team that still needs a named driver, right? And maybe 2 more defensive tackles, which aren't going to come in out of the cold, you don't think? But it is a curious football team because it is incredibly talented, and it's got 2 new coordinators. So it's going to be different. Things are going to be different, even though they stick to the Ohio State plan. It's going to be different, right?
Well, even from that perspective, I think winning the national championship, it spins off in 1,000 different directions for Ryan Day.
Yeah.
You're replacing someone who won a national championship and had the top-ranked defense in the country in Jim Knowles, and he lost his mentor and one of the best offensive play callers in the country at either level, pick NFL or college football, and Chip Kelly. Would he have been able to take this exact same route with betting on Brian Hartline or going, quote unquote, outside the college football realm and identifying Matt Patricia? Well, you know what the system is. And if they buy into what you're doing, then you can also make these other bets. You may not have to have somebody as established. No, we can quibble over that, and we'll have plenty of time to do that in the second hour of the Buckeye Show. But, I think every decision he's making on and off the field, I do think ties back to what happened in late December and throughout January.
Amen. By the way, that sound you hear, ba-boom, 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 that's the college football pulse. We're going to get to that at the top of the hour here on the Buckeye Show on 97.1 The Fan.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With Truehold, you can sell your home for its current value, so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. Truehold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since Truehold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit Truehold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town.properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith, Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag BuckeyesCare.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars, Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus, The Fan. The Fan.
And I'm Cam Taylor. The 2025 NBA Finals start tonight between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Pacers are going for their first title in franchise history, while the Thunder have one title in their team's history, but it occurred back in 1979 when they were still called the Seattle Supersonics. Game 1 will tip off tonight at 8:30 on ABC. Aaron Rodgers announced today that he will be coming back to the NFL for a 21st season, and he will be joining the Pittsburgh Steelers starting next Friday before the start of minicamp. The Super Bowl winning quarterback will look to help the Steelers make it back to the playoffs and win a playoff game for the first time since 2016. And the Cleveland Guardians will face the New York Yankees tonight at 7:05 in the final game of a 3-game road series before coming home tomorrow to start a 3-game series against the Houston Astros at 7:10. And the Cincinnati Reds are idle tonight, but will return to action tomorrow at 7:10 to start a 3-game weekend series against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
It's time for the College Football Pulse on the Buckeye Show.
Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. The College Football Pulse. You always look forward to this part of the show, don't you, Austin?
I love it.
Yeah, Beamer. I think he likes it too, man. But we have to turn it over to our producer.
No, we get to.
Huh?
We don't have to. We get to.
We get to. Turn it over to Cam Taylor, our producer extraordinaire, and he delivers the good and bad news on our pulse.
Yes, thank you, Tim. So the first story I wanted to hit you guys with was OSU legacy Mason Wilhelm committed to Bill Belichick and UNC earlier this week. He's a 3-star offensive lineman from Westlake, Ohio, and also the son of former OSU football player and Green Bay Packers player Matt Wilhelm.
And Matt Wilhelm's your guy. How did you let this happen, Tim?
I don't know. You know, Matt, they tried. And here's the thing. Matt and I talk about this a lot. We even did it on the Tim May show a few times, just talking about the exercise of being recruited and getting people's attention. And he tried to get Ohio State's attention, and he had Ohio State's attention. But then if there's a 5-star sitting out there, Ohio State's clearly going to go after those guys first. So, you have to understand the dynamics. Even though his dad was a superstar on the 2002 national championship team at linebacker, that only carries you so far, and we know he's Mason's rated as a 3-star, but you turn on the video, he he did his job, for Lakewood St. Ed's, and along came, he just kept chipping away, getting more and more offers, and then Bill Belichick offered him, and I guess Sweet talked him also, and next thing you know, he's committed. Hey, good for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I haven't seen the film. I don't know Mason at this point.
He's an offensive lineman.
Well, I was going to talk about the position generally. I didn't want this to be a Mason Wilhelm specific analysis, but as you look at what Ohio State is now trying to do with Tyler Bowen and then Ryan Day and Mark Pantoni at the top, there has been, I think, a greater push for Ohio offensive linemen, and you see good reason for that. Not just with someone like Luke Montgomery, who everyone wanted, but Austin Sareveld, I think, is now the poster boy for, hey, if you take 4, 5, 6 Ohio-born guys who understand the Scarlet and Gray, who are going to see the development process through, that might be the smarter approach. When you look back, smarter, whatever. It might be a prudent approach. Well, who knows if it works out. But, and you saw that even with Philip Daniels and bringing it back in to Ohio State after he went to Minnesota. It's a difficult strategy to execute, but even once you leave, just because you go to North Carolina for a year or two doesn't mean that the door is closed for you to go back to Ohio State. So I don't mean this is not a crystal ball prediction for what might happen here with Mason Wilhelm, and maybe that's not what he wants. I don't know the kid. Lots of people are motivated by different things, but, I think there has been a push that, especially for the offensive linemen, Ohio State recognizes that there are benefits to recruiting in-state and seeing that development through, even if it doesn't always begin here.
Speaking of the pulse, where your heart, you're born in Ohio, you want to play for Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, and your dad's an alum, and you want to play for Ohio State, but you got to finally go where you're going to get a shot. I truly believe the offensive line thing is going to be interesting to watch over the next 7 to 10 years, because I really think more and more of the big-time schools, why necessarily get into the development game on a wholesale when you can go out and get Ethan Onionwa, a guy like him at left tackle, moving over from Rice, Josh Simmons they got from San Diego State, guys who have proven themselves on the next level already, have already been developed. I think, boy, it's going to be a real mix to watch, especially offensive line, because you're so hit or miss with offensive linemen. Agreed?
I think that's the development piece that is critical. If you have someone like Austin Sareveld who explodes, great. As you look, you mentioned Onionwa. We'll see what happens with him. Year one at Ohio State, but we saw what happened with Josh Simmons. That worked out perfectly. On the other side, you had Josh Fryer all the way through. So I think really every position on the roster is a challenge in the transfer portal era and the movement era.
Yeah.
But finding the right balance of developing on the offensive line, and then if it becomes a point where you have to supplement through the transfer portal, I think Ohio State's done pretty well at that.
Yes.
We'll see.
I think they've done as well as anybody.
Yeah. What else you got, Cam?
Oh, I was just going to quickly say, I think that's also the first UNC storyline I've seen that didn't mention Jordan.
I'm pretty disappointed, Cam, because I have been turning the college football pulse, and I've been asking Rhyme Time. We have to have as many Jordan Hudson stories on this show as we can possibly get, because I cannot get enough.
That gets the pulse going, doesn't it?
I love it. I'm sad there's not one.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Next time. Tomorrow. Well, there'll be something tomorrow.
And so another story I have for you guys is Michigan. Those guys in blue and yellow, maize and yellow, have offered Charles.
You call it whatever color you want.
Yeah.
Have offered Charles Woodson Jr.
It may be in stripes here after tomorrow.
Son of the Michigan Heisman Trophy winner. He's a class of 2027 safety. And really what I was just kind of first thought was, wow, Charles Woodson's son is now up to the age to be recruited himself and get an offer from Michigan.
Well, as Hayden Fry would say, the late, great Hayden Fry, what a surprise. But you know what? You know what this reminds me of? You remember a guy named Antoine Winfield Jr.?
Yeah.
And I don't think Ohio State even offered him, if I remember correctly. He came to camp. I remember interviewing his dad, him and his dad, Antoine Winfield, one of my favorite players of all time at Ohio State. Pound for pound, as good a defensive player who ever played at Ohio State, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Speaking of legacies, if the guy can play, I think it behooves you to almost take him, right?
Yep.
I think Charles Woodson's son is pretty good from what I can see, but for the son, you still have to play up to what the father was all about.
Big expectations.
Wow, those are huge expectations.
Has it been weird for you? You've got to. I'm at the point where I'm starting to do this for the first time with it's like guys that I covered in the next way or grew up watching. You've covered fathers and sons.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because like Sean Springs, I interviewed Ron Springs a few times, way back in the day and stuff, and especially after he got to the Cowboys, because I was still covering all the other colleges except Ohio State and then pro football. And it's just bizarre, to see Sean Springs come along. Sean Springs was a tremendous player. Orlando Pace's son, Jalen Pace, came here. He's made a little bit of a mark, but he's not. Orlando Pace never portrayed him as being the next Orlando Pace. You know what I mean? Yeah. And by the way, I don't know if there'll ever be another.
I'm not sure that there's going to be another one. I think
even
that's
though they still gave his number out, but but yeah, so it puts a lot of pressure on the young man, I do believe, right? But I think when you embrace that pressure, it's interesting dynamic, because like we just talked about Matt Wilhelm, part and parcel to a national championship team, and would like to have seen his son get offered and play at Ohio State, but it didn't happen. Life moves on, right? And what do you think? What do you think about Charles Woodson's son? You think you've seen a little bit of video on him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean he's certainly got some of that same athleticism. I don't know if that bar is incredible.
To?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what.
Well, we saw what happened with Chris Carter's kid when he came here.
Or if he wants to, still go to school in Ann Arbor. If there's smoldering wreckage coming out of the Committee on Infractions, I think that that's down the road. That's class of 2027 that we're talking about for the younger Woodson. But there's going to be, I think, potentially decisions that have to be made for a lot of guys who are playing football up there in their immediate future, if they have the opportunity to leave, if it is a postseason ban. And I don't know, Cam didn't put this in here, maybe be talking about it more tomorrow anyway, but it certainly feels like a lot of people around college football expect Michigan to be facing a postseason ban.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes another open market situation on their roster. So that part, I think, is one of the more intriguing subplots of June, because it's not something that we normally see in college football this time of year.
Hey, we'll talk about tomorrow night, but do you think it'll be the NCAA's last stand? Because that's kind of what it's looking like.
Well,
just in a nutshell, because we got to get to the third poll.
But somebody has to make the rules. So
right.
Even if you're changing the name and the College Sports Commission becomes the new NCAA,
correct,
they still have to do the same thing, and they're all agreeing to rules. So maybe under those exact initials and acronym, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Cam.
Alrighty, and then a website, Saturday Down South, put together a list of the 16 best teams of the college football playoff era. 3 OSU teams made the list. The first team to make the list would have been the 2022 Ohio State Buckeyes, led by C.J. Stroud, had that great game against Georgia in the Peach Bowl at 15. And then a little bit further up the list, we see the most recent, the 2024 Ohio State Buckeyes are on the list at number 9. And then the top team for Ohio State is not the 2014. That was a mistaken. It's not the 2019
celebration
Ohio State Buckeye championship team, or the 2014 Ohio State championship team. It's the 2019 Ohio State Buckeyes team that was led by Chase Young, Justin Fields, bunch of Ohio State, great Ohio State players on that defense that didn't even make it to the championship game, but they're at number 4 on their list.
Well, that is an insane list.
It's an insane list. Who's number 1 on that? They ranked them, right? So who's number 1 on the list?
I would bet anything that they have 2019 LSU.
No. 2022 Georgia Bulldogs, number 1, 15-0. 2020 Alabama, number 2. Number 3, the 2019 LSU team. But they said even in this ranking, they were very closely considering putting that 2019 OSU team ahead of the 2019 LSU team.
Well, I actually respect that, because
I do too.
I say on the Buckeye Show all the time, and sometimes to snickers and sometimes to applause, that had Ohio State not been given an all-time screw job in that Fiesta
Bowl,
goodness, that they would have unleashed unholy fury on LSU.
Jeffrey Okudah, one of the great plays of all time.
That didn't occur.
And Jordan Fuller picked it up, scooped and scored.
I believe that they would have beat LSU, and I believe they would have beat them handedly, so kudos to Saturday Down South for that. I will never understand leaving off the first, if we're talking about the entire college football playoff era, the first champions led by Ezekiel Elliott and Joey Bosa and Jeff Hireman and Joshua Perry.
Millions of NFL high-round draft picks on that team.
Michael Thomas, Evan Spencer.
That's a bogus list.
That's pretty ridiculous to not have them anywhere in the top 16, especially, you said, Cam, that they included the C.J. Stroud 2022 Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Yes, Noah Ruggles, far right.
The ball drop. That when a team has won the national championship, especially the first one, probably a good idea to include them on your list of the best teams of the playoff era.
Yeah, and absolutely. Before we go to a break, I mean, the bottom line is I would have put the 2015 Ohio State team on there, and they didn't even make the playoff.
So that's a whole nother segment.
Yeah, that's a whole other segment talking about the beauty of a 12-team playoff now. But that won't happen anymore. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about some of your observations from watching camp today, hanging out with Ryan Day a little bit, some of the other coaches, just listening and watching, and mainly listening, and other things here on the Buckeye Show on 97.1 The Fan.
Whatever you're doing right now, just know that Bo Bishop is enjoying a sip of bourbon, even if this promo is playing in the morning. No judgment.
Ah, sweet morning drinking.
The Fan.
Dude, I think I just wrote the song of the summer. Listen.
That's just you drinking a big gulp from Speedway.
Exactly. Song of the summer. Here comes the drop. Crisp, fruity flavors like the limited time Mountain Dew Pitch Black. And just 89 cents for any size with Speedy Rewards? That's a summer hit.
I'm not sure you know how songs work.
The convenience stores of Speedway. Hold on. You gotta hear how it ends. Valid through 6/24/25. See app for full terms.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
For over 30 years, Schumacher Homes has been building affordable custom homes throughout the Buckeye State. Experience true customization on your land, your way, without any compromises. Come visit any of our 9 Ohio model home and design studio locations to see the latest in design trends and learn about our award-winning building process, or start online at SchumacherHomes.com. You'll be surprised how affordable a custom home will be. Schumacher Homes, proud home building sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Of your favorite fan content? Good news, we're on all the digitals. Follow 971 The Fan on X, Facebook, YouTube, The Talk, and Gram. Your digital home for endless shenanigans. The Fan.
Soy has been keeping secrets, and it's ready to share. Soybeans are among the most versatile agricultural products. They are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we all love and use every day. Ohio is leading the way, developing new uses for soybeans to support our changing world. Soy low-key slays, and I'm here for it. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Fan weather
from the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Plenty of clouds around, a couple of showers, and maybe a rumble of thunder on this Thursday. Temperatures in the upper 70s. Overnight, we'll keep it down to the mid to upper 60s. Warm and humid for your Friday morning. Could see a shower or storm early, but a slightly better chance by Friday evening and Friday night. High temperatures around 80 degrees. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
4 out of 5 dentists recommend this show. The other dentist is a Michigan fan. Yuck! You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
We're back on The Buckeye Show. This is Tim May along with Austin Ward. We were discussing his daughter's future, possibly as an LPGA superstar. She's 8 years old, but I'm telling you,
Ohio State golf program's got it going on. I'd love to
absolutely
have some access to go over into the practice facility, the indoor in the winter. That'd be
you know people.
Well, I do.
It's funny. I know people, and I know you that you know people. Maybe we can make it happen.
Let's put it together. Yeah, she's. It's funny, Tim, because she. I did not push this on Liberty at all. She watched. She'd been going to the memorial since she was a baby. Certainly she's got a dad that likes to play and watches a lot on television. So, it was a couple summers ago that she started, taking the camps, and we put her in at Raymond. They did a great job out there, and she got a little interest there. And she's two summers into that, and she says, this year, I don't want to go to camp. There's too many other kids there. I need more attention. I want private lessons. She turns 8 this month, and you're thinking, wow, that's a tall ask for private instruction for an soon to be 8-year-old golfer. And the part of me that's competitive and a proud dad and supportive is like, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. And I'm going to be her caddy on the LPGA tour, and I'll leave the Buckeye Show behind and traveling to every Ohio State game. That caddying dad life is the way for me. Absolutely. And then the other part is like, well, these camps were like just a nice way to get you out of the house in the summer, and they were pretty affordable. Maybe not. I don't. That's the push and pull. You've gone through all that.
Be careful what seeds you plant, man. They come back. They come back either as weeds or beautiful plants. We could hook her up with Doc. Doctor is his nickname at Dick's on Sawmill Road. I call him Dick's Doctor, which is a funny thing.
I don't know. Did he ask for that nickname?
But that's his nickname. But this guy is a closet kind of golf guru kind of dude, who helps people when they come in, and he studied the game big time. He's got master's degrees or graduate degrees and all kinds of other different things, but golf, you can find him in the Dick's golf department. He's a very interesting guy to talk to, but there are all kinds of guys that necessarily aren't going to charge you an arm and a leg, just get your kid to hit the ball 5 yards farther as an 8-year-old.
All right, well, that Dick's on Sawmill is about, I don't know, 2 good drives away from our house, so maybe we'll be good to go there.
Exactly. I was going to say, it's very convenient. Tell him Tim May sent you and get a discount.
Deal.
By the way, I told you, my grandson Charlie, he wants to be a golfer too. He's 3.5, and then my older grandson Owen is just playing all kinds of sports, and he's pretty good in t-ball and pretty good in flag football and stuff. So they're having a great time. So I think when you can nurture it, it's pretty cool. Hey, speaking of
camp season,
speaking of prospects down the road and stuff, how was that segue? Was that a dovetail?
I think we both had 2 different ideas to get there.
Was that a dovetail or a shot quail? How would you call that?
Dovetail works for me.
What did you see today, man? You were at the camp, the summer camps, which is much for rubbing elbows with the coaches, and everybody else's is watching talent.
Yeah, I love to show up to the Woody for these summer camps. So Berm is certainly looking for who's going to earn offers, and a wide receiver caught Brian Hartline's eye today. I think we can talk about that with Bill Kurelic later on in this program. I like to go see. It's been 2 months almost since the spring game. what is the Mickey Marotti strength program doing? Because you can see it just over 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're seeing that guys day after day after day, you may not notice the change. When we have a little bit of chance to step away or we're forced to step away, and they also get a little vacation there in May, you come back in and you say, oh, man, how did these guys change already? So it's those current Buckeyes and what that means for this year's team. It's also why it was hot out there and steamy, and then the storm rolled through. Tim Hinton had to shuffle everybody inside for some of the individual drills, and that was pretty. You talked about the Ohio State machine earlier. When it kicked into gear for them to make sure they could get that camp complete was actually pretty phenomenal to watch. How they executed that. But long story short on that, Edric Houston, man, is a sight to behold, and a great personality too. So, he comes over to chat with us, and he was like, he knew what we wanted to talk about, because he just looks incredible physically. He's at 295, and when you think about how he arrived, the weight and strength and speed and everything that he showed up with, he was at 245 last year, and we were thinking,
he's going to be on the edge, man.
5-star on the edge. He makes that move. He was 270, 275 in the middle of last season as he kicked into that 3 technique spot. It was like you could see what Larry Johnson was wanting to accomplish there and why he was moving in to supplement the depth at defensive tackle. But it's like, he's not quite there to be 20, 30, 40 reps and dominating at 3-tech yet. But, boy, you have the winter, then you have the spring, and now he's at 295. He said 20% body fat, Tim. And I said, well, so what do you do from that here? He said, well, I want to stay at 295. That's the weight for me, but I want to get to 18% body fat. I was like, my goodness, wow, that's going to be.
I did a story one time with Joey Bosa. I said, if you decide to be a 3 technique, you could be a good 3 technique. And he goes, oh, yeah, I could, but he liked the freedom of just beating one guy usually, not 2. But just when you throw an athlete down in there along with and he's a big guy like Edric Houston, you got something going on, man, because he can, sat in on Larry Johnson's presentation to the high school coaches during the coaches clinic, and he made the point, we're trying to get upfield. We're not sitting there trying to hold ground. The approach. You're trying to get upfield, and the more athletes you have working in that regard, the better off you are. And there's no doubt Edric Houston and Caden McDonald, I think, could be a nice punch there in that middle of that defensive front. Are you concerned? Is not the right word, because I know you don't lose sleep over it. But everybody always asks me if I'm worried or concerned. But is it interesting that I don't think they found a deep tackle in the portal, if at least not yet.
No, I don't think that'll happen.
To augment. So they're kind of stuck is not the right word, but you got Tywon Malone. Are they going to get, what did he look like? Did you see him out there?
Didn't see Tywon today. Caden McDonald and Edric Houston were both out there.
Yeah.
Caden Curry helping out as we expand the scope there on the defensive line. Next week is a busier week. I think there's at least 3. There might be 4 camp days next week. So hoping to see more guys. They get their team workouts have been going on in the morning. So you have the coaching staff around. You got the full roster going in and out throughout the day. So it'll be mix and matched who we might catch and who we see on certain days. And today, Edric and Caden, obviously, we know how critical they are going to be for this team. And, Berm was sort of joking with those two. It's like, this season is on you guys' shoulders. You have to be the ones to lead it because of what you're talking about. There just weren't any upgrades available for Ohio State, in their opinion, in their evaluation. And they were very open about the fact that they were looking for more defensive tackles.
Yeah.
They don't have the numbers where they want them to be, and they're very inexperienced. As highly as we think of Edric Houston and Caden McDonald, they've not been in this full-time role before. Tywon Malone certainly hasn't been. Jason Moore hasn't been. Will Smith Jr. has had to go through, some injuries and to get to that next level. So you're betting on that.
Oh, yeah.
So because that's the evaluation. It's not could you do better than Edric Houston and Caden McDonald in the transfer portal. You probably almost certainly could not.
Yeah.
But that's the one. Do you think that there's something that is more ready, more prepared, more veteran than those 3 guys that I mentioned? And Ohio State decided that they weren't. And some of that could be off the field concerns. Some of it could be on the field. None of it materialized for them in a way but does put the impetus on those 3 guys and maybe someone like Jarquez Carter, the true freshman, to get into that mix. Because as you said, Tim, even if you like those top 2, you're not going to ask them to play 700 snaps next year. You just can't do that in a 16-game season.
16 games. What you'd like to see one of those guys you mentioned in the background do is do a Luke Montgomery.
Yeah.
Because Luke Montgomery going into the season last year, I mean, yeah, he'd had a nice camp and stuff, but what kind of role was he going to play, right? And then Carson Hisman was in the doghouse or the jail, the penal colony, whatever.
He was sick.
Yeah, and he was sick also. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's like they weren't. But Luke Montgomery is the great. I mean, Carson Hisman may be the All Big Ten center this year. I mean, he has that because we saw him start, as a freshman. I mean, 2 years ago, and then we saw him sit out, because of the Cotton Bowl, and then sit out half the year last year, forgotten man, and all of a sudden, man, he was part and parcel to what they did those last. Except for one game, those last 8 games. I mean, it was pretty. But my point is, Luke Montgomery, it's not so much the light came on; it's that he finally found a spot, and then exploded.
And I think oftentimes or I'll speak for myself. Well, I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for you, Tim. But you get to August, you get through the end of training camp, and you say, "Well, here's the depth chart. This is what this team looks like," and that's it. It's set in stone, But it's You compared it to a machine. It is also a living, breathing organism that doesn't have to be stagnant. And I remember he was not in the lineup yet. Ohio State walked into Wrigley Field, and I looked at Luke Montgomery, and I was like, "That's not the same guy from 2 months ago."
Right.
And I keep using this 2-month reference, but he still has a chance to practice at that time. He's getting in games late, and he is working out throughout that whole process too. You could see the physical change in Luke Montgomery in real time. And it was sort of like just that zooming back out. And it's like, maybe he's not that far away. It wound up, I didn't really put it in the context of he's going to help Ohio State this year until he had to. But I was thinking about it before Tennessee when we were having all that, like, they're going to rotate or is he going to be in there? It was, you have a chance to continue to get better as the season goes along. So
yeah,
that's a great point.
We got to go to break, but I want to make one other point. I did a story after that game with Seth McLaughlin talking about how this revamped offensive line has come together. Come together.
Yeah.
And then boom, torn Achilles for Seth McLaughlin, who goes on to win to Remington anyway. And it
was a pretty important day, I think.
Yeah, pretty big day. But hey, we're going to be back in just a moment. I think Austin Ward tipped our hand here. That's okay because you're supposed to tip your hand. You're supposed to promote, but. Bill Kurelic is going to join us, a longtime recruiting guru. I've known him almost as long as I've been covering Ohio State football. He's going to talk about what he saw at the camp, but also about Ohio State's recruiting machine when we come back on the Buckeye Show here on 97.1 The Fan.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Check out this amazing deal on Kellogg's cereal. Select varieties or buy 2 get 3 free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a mysterious room of long-forgotten, moldy mascot memorabilia. Often pitched by ad agencies, always rejected by NJM. Is it real? We may never know. But what is real is NJM's dedication to doing what's right for their customers. Astoundingly, they're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Learn more at njm.com.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts. And for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use. Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town.properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
It's time for your daily dose of vitamin B. B stands for Buckeyes, just in case that wasn't clear. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
We're efforting to get Bill Kurelic on the line. We'll see if we get him. Cam Taylor, he's supposed to be our crack producer, but he hadn't been able to run him down yet.
Don't blame Cam.
I'm not. I'm just messing with him. He knows that. But
well, I only talked about one guy from camp today, so I know. If you need the next 2 segments, Phil Tim, I'm here.
I know you are. That's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is like being in coach pitch when you've got me and Austin talking about Ohio State football, especially Austin. But
no, come on.
Yeah.
Don't say especially.
Yeah, especially. I prefer you put the ball on the tee. Let me just take a swing at it.
All right.
But, hey, I did want to ask you this, man. The summer camps are still revealing.
Yeah.
You can have a guy pop up. You know, we've seen it throughout history. Guys pop up like Devin Smith a long time ago. You weren't even here then. You were covering the mighty Vols of Tennessee football, weren't you?
Yeah, well, go ahead. But
I'm sorry, I was just going to rub that in.
My story like that is the Terry McLaurin day.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
He had to come back and prove himself.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember how many times did he have to prove himself? 2 or 3? I can't remember. I'm talking about Terry McLaurin.
Yeah,
he was one of the top receivers in the National Football League.
He said, "Come back the next year and let's see if you can." Improve your hands and run a time. And Terry took that challenge on. Darren Lee did the same thing. I think he had to come to 3-4 camps and just yelling at Luke Fickell to earn that offer and finally got it. Jake Cook last year. So there's a couple it's really fun and it's rewarding to see those things happen in real time.
Yeah.
Tim, it's a lifelong dream that they're accomplishing. Jake Cook goes out there to do one-on-ones and leaves his guts all over the turf out there and goes right back in the line. We were joking about that. I saw him there today. He looks awesome, by the way. 6 months in the body by Maserati has worked wonders for him. He had a really good spring. But Bodkin Miller, the same sort of deal, just exploding out of nowhere. And if Brian Hartline taps your head and gives you an offer that tends to carry a lot of weight, and Bill Kurlic's with us now, he did that today.
That's right, Bill. What do you think, Bill?
I'm here, ready to go.
Yeah. No, I mean, like the kid who got an offer today from Brian Hartline and stuff. That's just what camp can do for you, right?
It is. That not necessarily always a kid that young, since the kid that got the offer, Braylon Clark from North Carolina, he's just finishing his freshman year in high school.
That's nuts.
That doesn't always happen, but the kid was really impressive today. He has really good speed, and it was pretty easy to see that this kid was a standout, and Brian Hartline offered him, and Braylon's pretty excited about it. He was there with his brother today, and, he talked about it being wide receiver U, and immediately Ohio State is way up there, high on his list, as he told me.
Yeah, it's really funny, those lists, right? What really matters is when you make that final call. Hey, I wanted to ask you this, man. Did anybody else jump out at you today? I mean, maybe surprised you? The coaches can't talk about who surprised them. They have to actions speak louder than words when it comes for them. But did anybody catch your eye today?
Well, there were some other scholarship offers. First of all, a kid from Columbus to Sales, tight end, that performed really well. That one didn't surprise me too much. Jordan Karhoff, a 2027 tight end from Columbus to Sales. He is a target of R.J. Day, Ryan Day's son, who is the quarterback from Columbus to Sales.
Uh-oh.
So that's a good connection to have when your quarterback is the head coach of the Buckeyes.
You maybe even eaten at the head coach's house 1 or 2 times. But go ahead, though.
Yeah, no doubt. But, that one didn't surprise me too much. But one, I guess, that did a little bit, wasn't really particularly on my radar screen at this point, was 2027 safety Jonathan Gillette from Montville St. Joseph Regional High School in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. He got an offer. And then Cibolo Steel safety Eli Johnson, who also is a 2027 kid, he had a really nice performance. I was kind of interested to see how he did. He performed well and got a scholarship offer. So those are some guys that also got offered. But One that didn't get an offer that I was impressed with, though, Will Slagle, an offensive lineman from Iowa. And he came all the way from Iowa to Ohio State, hoping to get the offer. And he didn't really disappoint. He performed well. And after camp, Tyler Bowen told him that, unless it's an absolutely stunning performance, he doesn't like to offer guys, right away that quickly and all. And he filmed him and all, and he said, we're going to take a really close look at you and watch the videotape of today and all, and, he's got a chance to get an offer.
Bill, I don't know if today necessarily moves the needle or changes a lot for Ohio State as it looks at some quarterback options, but this month as a whole seems pretty important for them. Where do you see this June period going for Ryan Day at that critical position?
Well, it's kind of interesting in that, they've got the 2025 guy that they really wanted. Of course, that's being Tavian St. Clair. And they've got a commitment from a 2027 high 4-star, possible 5-star guy, and Brady Edmonds, who's at camp today. So, you put those two things together, and it's going to be tough to get a 2026 quarterback that wants to kind of be the guy in between those two guys.
Right.
And it has proved tough. They don't have a commitment from a 2026 quarterback. And that's going to be interesting to me in that besides Edmonds, they are offering scholarships to other 2027 quarterbacks. In fact, one of them was at Ohio State today, Derek Baker, who performed very well. And they've told guys like Derek Baker, hey, we want 2027 quarterbacks. So, is it just going to be a situation where they really don't get the 2026 guy that they think is of that level? And they may not. They may have to go with somebody of maybe a little lesser level and hope he develops. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in the end. But they are certainly looking for a 2026 quarterback, and actually they have one scheduled for an official visit later this month. So, we'll see how it all plays out.
Hey, you've had your ear to the ground when it comes to recruiting as long almost as I've been covering Ohio State football since 1984. Bill, you're a four-decade man. I'm just wondering, are quarterbacks now reluctant to be one of two? You understand what I'm saying in a class, or is it how tough an assignment is that for these guys to get Billy Fessler, et cetera, to convince these guys, both y'all come in, we'll have a playoff.
Yeah, it really is a tough thing. But you know what, Tim, and by the way, the way you put that, you're further cementing my oldness there.
Yeah, there you go.
But, or I guess it's just experience, right?
Right. There'll be a plaque to you one day. Go ahead.
But, the thing that's interesting there, though, is that, it's tough. But in this day and age of the transfer portal, that kind of opens things up a little bit. And I've had a number of 2026, 2027 quarterbacks tell me that. They're not quite as worried, so to speak,
right,
that Tavian St. Clair is there and Brady Edmonds committed, because there's always the transfer portal. And I don't think they're, in most cases, referring to themselves, referring to maybe one of those other guys will transfer.
Yeah, and you and I have known each other for a long time. Like I said, we've seen quarterbacks come and go forever at Ohio State and other schools. I mean, they've been transferring well before the portal was invented.
Yeah, and now it's just is exponentially easier.
Yes.
When Bill, when you came on here, we were talking about some of the guys that emerge in these camp performances, how they still carry weight. And we talked about Terry McLaurin, and I said Jake Cook last year, Bodpin Miller. Do you have a favorite summer camp emergence story?
Yeah, I do, and it's a recent one. And I think you guys talked about it. It would be BP Miller. I mean, he walked into camp as a quarterback that I think was virtually on just about nobody's radar screen to be an Ohio State wide receiver. Mm-hmm. And he walks out of the camp, and everybody's talking about, oh, my goodness, did you see the performance that kid just put on as a quarterback? As a wide receiver. Quarterback that's never played wide receiver before goes out and impresses Brian Hartline and everybody else that was really watching closely enough to say, hey, this guy is an Ohio State guy. And lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, he is an Ohio State guy. He commits. And I really think with his explosion and his size, he is going to be one guy that's going to surprise a whole lot of people as coming out of Ohio State as a great football player.
Yeah, and, even in this age, man, you're still looking for that great athlete if you can get him, man, because a great athlete can do a lot of things. He can play golf in the off season, but after 3 lessons, like Emeka Egbuka and all those guys had that golf league, Denzel Burke, and the last couple of years, which was fun to hear that these guys like the good old game like I do. I want to ask you this, Bill, before you go, how would you describe the Ohio State recruiting machine right now? Is my contention. I think Ohio State, if I was rating programs right now, I would probably put Ohio State number 1 in the country in terms of just the entire program. Yeah, you could argue for Georgia and Texas and stuff, but I just think things are are clicking along pretty well with Ohio State through and through, and especially on the recruiting realm. What's your take?
I would totally agree with that, and for a number of reasons. Ohio State, they got a great product to sell. There's no doubt about it. Ohio State football is a great product to sell, but when you're going up against Georgia, for instance, Texas, for instance, those are states that not only have warm weather, but they have so many great prospects. You go down to Georgia and Florida, there are so many, because of the population change in the last 15, 20 years, there are so many great players down in the South in Georgia and Florida, as well as Texas. And Ohio State doesn't have that advantage. Now, I'm not saying Ohio State doesn't have a good place to recruit. Ohio football is good.
Yeah.
It's just with the population, it's realistically, it's not like in Florida, in Texas, in Georgia. It's just not like it. There aren't as many great players in Ohio or the Midwest as there are in those states and those parts of the country, because that's where the population is. So Ohio State, to me, doing what they're doing recruiting-wise is unbelievable. And a good part of that is and I've been, again, dating us back, Tim.
Yeah.
You and I we've been doing this a long time, and this is one of the best recruiting staffs in my 38 years of covering Ohio State football that I've seen.
Wow. Yeah. By the way, when you get into the door of Cibolo Steel, which is a big time program, historic program down in Texas, and LaGrange, where J.K. Dobbins is from, and Georgia, those schools in Georgia, and you know what the intensity is for football down there, but also the competition for players with Georgia and Alabama and everybody sitting there in Texas and Texas A&M. Man, you're really doing something. I mean, you got a reputation going, but you still got to work at it. And Bill Kurelic, nobody works harder than you, man, when it comes to recruiting, and you've got a 4-decade long experience there. So keep it going, my man. I appreciate you joining us.
Well, I appreciate it, and hey, we've only got 7 more camps to go. We have 4 more one-day camps and 3 7-on-7 camps. So we got 7 more got 7 more camps in the next, I think, 12 days or something like that. It's going to be interesting.
You need an assistant, Bill. There you go, man.
I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Bill Kurelic, the guru of Ohio State football recruiting. Has been at it for a long time. When we come back, we're going to do #Buckeyes if we can find something interesting from that, or else. If we don't, we'll just wax eloquently. Austin Ward and Tim May here on the Buckeye Show, 97.1, The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State athletics, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Bats are us when dreams don't get in. Bats are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Bats are us when dreams don't get in. Bats are us.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium, presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
They're trained. They're prepared. Let's do it. They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Most radio stations suck. Here's why. They don't invest in local programming. We're live and local 14 hours a day. You can rest assured that every stupid thing we say is 100% local. Homegrown, dumb since day one. The Fan.
A healthy body needs good food. This summer, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is sponsoring Sun Meals, a summer food program where kids eat free. Children under 18 receive healthy meals and no sign-up is required. Locations may be right in your neighborhood. Call 1-866-348-6479 or visit education.ohio.gov/kidseat for meal locations and times. That's education.ohio.gov/kidseat.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Want to know anything about the Fans contests, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Social media can be a cesspool. Allow us to navigate the waters. #Buckeyes.
Sponsored by the Waterworks. Call the plumbing, heating, and cooling technicians at the Waterworks and header today. Call 614-232-2222. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Oh, yeah, #Buckeyes. We remember the college football pulse. Now it's #Buckeyes, brought to you by the Waterworks. And I'm going to go to my man, Austin Ward, sitting across from me. Let's go to that first hashtag, brother.
Closing it out strong tonight with the dudes of the week. I love it. Love it, love it, love it when Ohio State peels back the curtain on the awards that are the internal awards.
Yes.
One of my biggest frustrations, if I'm going to praise on the one hand, which is dudes of the week and making that a social media point and players of the game, is when they have removed the champion grades from the game notes and try to make those private. And I understand why they did. There's a lot of factors involved.
Parents.
But then you have to say, oh, did so-and-so grade as a champion? Oh, yeah, he graded as a champion.
Yeah.
Can I get the full list? Check back with Jerry on that one.
Jerry, can you get that for us?
But anyway, so I like it. I love it when they do it. I love it. I appreciate it fully because it does help to then put in greater context. Arvell Reese, we already know that he's from a different planet. He is special. He is a dude of the week. Caden Curry, which is significant. Was we talked about the defensive line and, finding out, replacing JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer, that's not going to be easy. Even when you have Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson back, you add 2 guys from the portal, you move C.J. Hicks down there from linebacker. There's a bit of uncertainty still about what that looks like on a full-time basis. But you look, when I saw Caden Curry today, it's the strength of the lower body that looks different than when he arrived.
Correct. He looks like a Bosa now.
He looks like a Bosa.
I'm talking about his lower body, yeah.
And, you look at the number, there were always going to be those comparisons, but the calves were enormous. And those are also, you can check that out. Don't have to take my word for it. Right. You can go look at the Ohio State Football X account, Twitter account, and that'll show you. And the third one, I've been talking about this, Tim, since spring, going into spring. Had conversations with Matt Guerrieri. It was like, I understand. You have Caleb Downs on the one hand. He's the best safety, best defensive player in America. And then you're trying to project, all right, well, who's the next thing? You have Jalen McClain on the rise, and your attention shifts. But right in the middle is often where you find some of those stories, the overlooked ones. And Malik Hartford, boy, the training camp 2 years ago, It was the name that you heard day after day after day after day, Malik Hartford, Malik Hartford, Malik Hartford. He got a start early on in that true freshman year, and it's like, well, look out. But not everything goes on those nonstop flights, those rocket ships straight to the top. Sometimes you hit bumps, dips, valleys, injuries, adversity.
Wait. Are we talking about the Starship program, or are we talking about Malik Hartford?
Rapidly unscheduled disassemblies?
I maybe should have used a different analogy to start that.
Go ahead now.
I don't want to go down that road, but he has faced that, both health-wise with the shoulder,
right,
and with actual on-field performance. He wants that. Everyone wants that playback at Ohio State that he was involved in. That Denzel Burke would have liked just the official to call it correctly. But anyway, Malik Hartford had a chance to intercept that football and didn't. And I think we get, tied up in the negatives. Well, that's the end. And I mentioned that with Luke Montgomery, that the growth can continue. Malik Hartford has had a chance to get fully healthy. He's had an offseason of winter weight work with Mickey Marotti now into this summer. A Dude of the Week honor, carries weight. They don't just hand that out to anybody. So if it's not to say that I don't really like Jalen McClain, because I do. Yeah. And it's certainly not because of anything that Caleb Downs is doing right or wrong. Malik Hartford is getting that acclaim, and it means something.
As I put it the other night, I don't know if it was on radio or we were taping something for Channel 10 for wall-to-wall sports, but it's like he had that moment where he stepped up, was given a chance to step up, but then he stepped back.
Yep.
And the moment was too big for him. And he kind of admitted it, and I'm talking about a couple of years ago, but he clearly is a guy that stuck with it. Remember, he's a smart guy.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what gets you about literally almost everybody on this football team. There's some smarts there. I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Perfect APR score, Tim.
Exactly. You've covered guys that you can't have a conversation with over the many years you've been doing, especially when you covered Tennessee. No, I'm just messing with you.
No, it's not wrong.
It's not wrong, but I'm just messing with you still. But it's just amazing the quality of individual on this football team over the last many years has just gone up and up and up, and he's one of those guys. And you wish the best for him because, we are quick to judge. Well, what about 2 years ago? Well, dude, that was 2 years ago. What about Garyon Conley, his first several plays? Marcus Lattimore. I mean, right on down the line.
How about Taylor Decker having to go out there against Khalil Mack?
Bingo. Exactly. I wonder if Braxton Miller remembers Khalil Mack. I'm sure
also,
he does.
What were you saying about Caden Curry again? How were you describing him?
Bosa-like, he said. He didn't say Bosa, but Bosa-like.
His lower body is ridiculously thick.
That's
it.
Exactly. I'm glad I didn't say that. I don't need that clip on my name, but and that's why I wanted to be clear. It's the Cavs.
Yes, it's the Cavs, man.
They're very, very powerful.
Yeah. And if you look at the Bosas, their strength as two brothers, it was always their lower body taking them through things that they shouldn't be getting through. And
balance and bend.
Exactly. And And when they fell down, they didn't fall down very far. They got right back up, Well, it'd be interesting to watch Joey Bosa play this year for Buffalo and see what he can do. But, the other thing is Caden Curry, I've always liked his attitude because he's waited his turn, man. Last year was supposed to be his turn. We all know that, right? But
same for Kenyatta.
Exactly. The unfinished business, the guys came back. And Kenyatta Jackson, I've really got my eye on him. I think he could explode this year. What's your take?
I like the combination of those two. And Larry Johnson talked about this throughout spring. So this is coming from the legendary position coach himself, which
Correct.
is we have seen Caden Curry with the nonstop motor and the relentless effort when he gets on the field. That's 10 to 15 times. We've seen Kenyatta Jackson. He made a handful of plays in the playoff push when JT was dealing with the ankle injury. It's 10 to 15 plays, 15 to 20 plays. It's a different task to go do that 40, 50 times, which is where JT and Jack separated and elevated themselves and what made the difference for Ohio State in that playoff push when they were both playing the best football of their careers. That is the standard now for these two. And to say that they're definitely there right now, that's a conversation for August.
Exactly. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow night when you do reprise this thing, ladies and gentlemen. Austin Ward, along with yours truly, Tim May, on the Buckeye Show, 97.1 The Fan. We're about to segue into the NBA Finals, Indiana at Oklahoma City on ESPN.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of 4, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teams require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum is perfect for us. I mean, it just seamlessly connects all our devices with lightning speed.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected.
It's amazing.
Spring showers revealing roofing or siding issues? Trust the pros at Newman Roofing for expert care, white glove service, and quality you can count on. Schedule your estimate today and take advantage of special financing options. Call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com today.
I think I just wrote the song of the summer. Listen.
That's just you drinking a Big Gulp from Speedway.
And just 89 cents for any size with Speedy Rewards? That's a hit. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 6/24/25. See app for full terms.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership is better than ever. Save up to $1,100 each year on gas, groceries, delivery fees, and streaming options. With double fuel points, unlimited free delivery, and exclusive savings for members, there's so much to love about Boost. Sign up for a Boost membership today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining healthcare.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Experience Buckeye game day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Broadcast